Good morning, everybody. Stu Smith here, going live. Hope you guys are well today, this Tuesday morning, kind of the start of the week, given the 3-day weekend of Labor Day. But it's Tuesday, and what Tuesday means is we are going to show some CSS videos, take some questions. But as you guys congregate, I'm going to chat a little bit about something I don't discuss at all, really. I mean, every now and then I might bring it up, but I don't really write about it. I don't write articles about it, but I probably should. It was a great question we got. I think it was last week, might have been over the weekend, about what were some of the things that I do, but I don't discuss in my programs. Got to thinking about it, and do I do any exercises or running workouts or swimming workouts, things that I just haven't written about yet? Thought about it in that sense. And I'll be honest with you, everything that I do and coach and develop eventually becomes written workouts, especially if I find they work. If they don't work, you'll probably never see them. For instance, one of the things that I discovered that did not work, that actually was hurting us, was a workout we did, and we did it every upper body day. We would mix in pull-ups because we have a pull-up bar on the pool deck, and we mix in burpees on that pool deck, and you're barefoot because you're swimming sets of the way we do it. We have big groups, so we'd have the lanes filled with 15 people because we only had a couple, 3 lanes, so every lane had like 5 people, and we'd swim 300 yards, right? And everybody's goal was to try to get that in like 5 minutes. Some people were 6 minutes, but that's all right. So we just took whoever was last. That's when we were done. The other group of 15 were on the pool deck doing pull ups, burpees, flutter kicks, pull ups, burpees, flutter kicks, pull up, burpees, flutter kicks for 6 minutes or so until that group was done. And then we would go swim, and they would come out and do pull ups, burpees, flutter kicks, pull ups, burpees, flutter kicks. Now, I know everybody doesn't have a pull up bar at their pool, so that workout isn't necessarily written about because it does require special logistics there. But the one thing I discovered is that burpees on the pool deck, while everybody can do burpees on the pool deck, here's what was happening, me included, is there were probably half the group started getting turf toe. And we were middle of a run cycle, a lot of reps, a lot of miles. And sure enough, burpees on a pool deck causes that toe to bend a little bit more than it needs to barefoot. And we, about 3 or 4 of us had, maybe more, about seven of us had a turf toe to deal with. It didn't stop us from running, but it nagged us. So took those burpees out, and sure enough, nobody had turf toe anymore. So lesson learned. So those are the kind of things I don't necessarily write about when I'm making workouts, but there's 2 things that I do that, yeah, maybe even 3 things that I do that I don't write about, um, or at least I haven't written about them in workouts. A little bit in the Never Quit Mindset program, because there's a positive inner voice during workouts and before workouts that I use. So I hear myself say, "Come on, get up, let's go." I'm a little inner voice cheerleader, even though there's another side of me that says, "Ah, man, it's so comfortable, you just should stay in bed." I say, "Get yourself up because you're thinking that way. In spite of it, go do it." So there's this positive inner voice I don't really talk about in my writing, except for in the Never Quit Mindset. And the 2 things I didn't write about in Never Quit Mindset was visualization when it comes to hard things that I'm about to do, whether it is a skill that I'm trying to master, it is a hard workout that I know I got to bring my A game to do, maybe a competition. Um, there's a visualization of that process that I go through of here's what I'm going to do. Boom, 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 boom. Like if I'm giving a presentation in front of a lot of people, I will go over that thing over and over again, focusing on not just performing well, but everything I'm going to say, rehearsing in my mind. In fact, in the Navy, in second phase, you're going to learn a saying called uh, plan your dive and dive your plan. So it's called dirt diving, where you actually are walking through your dive that you're about to do, going on all the courses with your compass, what you're going to do when you get under the ship with your buddy, um, and things like that. So it's just dirt diving. So it's very, very similar to rehearsing, mental rehearsals, visualization, all of those things I do. I just don't talk about in. It's something I don't coach, which maybe I should. Um, and the other one is meditation. And my form of meditation is a little bit different, I think, than your traditional meditation. I like to just lay back, chill, close my eyes, focus on my breathing, and just be present with what thoughts are coming in and out. And try to go back to either zero thoughts coming in and out or actually discussing with myself, why does this thought keep coming in here? What is it that is triggering this thought that keeps intruding into my calmness? And then I address it. So I think that's meditation. I've never really been formally schooled on how to do it, but that's how I do it. Most of the time, those sessions turn into me just lying down and falling asleep. Be quite honest with you. In fact, sometimes my dog and I will lay down and I start thinking and relaxing and focusing on my thoughts. And then I tell my wife we're just meditating, and she goes, "Oh, okay." And then afterwards, she goes, "Well, for meditation, you both of you guys were snoring, so me and my dog both." So so sometimes it turns into that. Okay, so that's my intro to today's live Q&A and CSS critique show. If you guys have any questions, we can discuss. It looks like I don't have any questions over here on Instagram, but over here on YouTube, we do. Can you discuss warm-ups and cooldowns? Yeah, sure. In fact, if you Google warm-ups and cooldowns, Stu Smith, I have written several articles on them where I discuss dynamic stretching for warm-ups. I discuss static stretching for cooldowns and exactly what is a cooldown, what is a warm-up. What I like to do for our warm-ups, and the guys will tell you we do it every upper body day or lower body day, is we'll do one pull-up, one push-up, run to the stop sign and back, which is like 25 yards down, 25 yards back. And it's a jog, it's a butt kicker, it's a leg swing, it's a sidestep, a karaoke, whatever you feel like you want to do in those 25 yards times two, you can do. And it's just loosening up. And then we go 2 pull-ups, 2 push-ups, do it again, 3, 3, 4, 4, 5, 5. In fact, we did it today up to 10, and you stop at 10. So that's 55 pull-ups, 55 push-ups. And now you're ready for the workout. And that workout usually starts with a mile run. So we kind of continue the warm up with a mile run, then we come back. So that's about a 15-minute warm up in my mind. And then we get after it. Whether that is an upper body lift or it is more calisthenics and cardio, doesn't matter. We use the same warm up for either one. And then when we start lifting, if we're going heavy, we will progress logically with our weights. You don't just jump into, 1, 2 times your body weight and start lifting. That's obviously part of the warm up as well. So you'll have some warm up sets and then working sets, and then you'll cool down. Usually we will cool down with some form of cardio and stretching mix. So that might be another mile run, might be a 10-minute bike, might be stopping every couple of minutes, do a little thigh stretch, hamstring stretch, or if it's a leg day type of thing, or it's an upper body stretch, for upper body, just loosen things up and kind of do that. So that's what we do. Written articles, many, many articles about it. In fact, every book has a warm up section discussing cool downs as well. Let's see. Mr. Singh says, should I get soft boots or hard boots for fins? Yeah, they're called booties, scuba booties. That's what I would do. In fact, we discussed this yesterday, I think. Yeah, just Google scuba booties, and you can find some on eBay or I'm sorry, Amazon for like $35 with zippers to them. Pretty easy. Can you talk about goal setting when it comes to workouts? How do I set realistic goals and what happens when you fail to meet those goals? Well, I wouldn't call it failing to meet those goals. I would call it an experiment to reach those goals, and then you have to make a change. If you do not reach those goals in a set time, maybe that time was not enough for a progression like that, for growth. You need to write down everything you do. Like, what I want you to do is have a notebook where you write down everything you're eating, drinking in a day, your workouts that you did that day. You can refer to whatever page in a book if you want to, or write it down and put in your scores. Like, how did you do? How'd you do on your runs and your swims and your PTs and your weights? How did you perform? Did you hit any PRs in that workout? Or did you do absolutely horrible and felt like crap and 50% of old scores came up that day? Sometimes that happens. You have good days and bad days. What I try to do by writing everything down, especially when it comes to fitness goals, is to figure out why I had a PR, figure out why I had a bad day. And usually you can look at your book and say, well, I eat like crap. I didn't even eat lunch and tried to work out afterwards, right? So it's a fueling issue. Had a horrible night's sleep or had a great night's sleep, and I came in and crushed that morning workout. Whatever it is, right? You will figure out a system that works for you or does not work for you. You will know that if you have a crap workout and you only had 4 hours of sleep, you might be able to tie those two together and realize, oh, maybe 4 hours sleep isn't my answer to good performance. That's pretty logical. Every now and then you'll get one of those weird ones where you had 4 hours of sleep and you hit a couple PRs and you're saying, how did that happen? Usually it's a fueling issue. Like, a lot of times when you don't sleep, you tend to eat a little more to make up for it. Don't even realize it. And then you have all this fuel and you actually do well in the workout. Then at the end of the day, you're burnt out, but that's okay too. You had a PR day. My advice is work on your recovery, nutrition, sleep, hydration, electrolytes. All those matter in your performance. And and if you're doing all that right, and you're doing the workout as written, and you're still not reaching your goals, then you have to make some changes. Usually that's with what program you're on, or do you need to add more? Do you need to add less or subtract less? Things like that. But that's how we do it, especially with fitness goals. Let's see. Next question, Stu. How do you avoid getting sick in buds? I don't know. And how common is it even with all the preventative steps? Do you get med rolled? Do you recommend pushing through illness, injury, or staying safe? Well, I will tell you this. I had 2 times I went to medical. One, I was puking and crapping all over the place. And it just happened to be on a late Thursday. and they said, yeah, just stay in your room tomorrow, get better over the weekend, come back Monday. So I missed 1 day of training, and that was okay. But I think if you miss 2 or 3, you're getting rolled. So they just can't do that. Can't keep you in the class when you miss that many days of training. So I missed 1 day of training, healed up over the weekend, hydrated, started feeling better, and it was over. Some kind of virus, I guess. Unavoidable, maybe. I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't keep my fingers in my mouth and pick my nose and whatever I did, but that happens. See, I have a tendency to do this, and I just whatever I touch, just going right up my nose. Um, so yeah, try not to touch your face with your hands. Easier said than done, I know. Um, and just keep your hands clean at all times, especially before you eat. You know, wash up, hand sanitizers, whatever you can do. Pretend there's flu going around and try to avoid it. Um, but yeah, and then the second time I went, I actually had a really bad knee injury that I was trying to avoid going to medical, and it just kept getting worse and worse and worse, and to a point where I got rolled in third phase and had to rehab it and all that. It was just a really bad tendonitis that wasn't going away and prevented me from joining the next class. So I was a 2 class roll on that knee injury. It was that bad. Like, put it this way, I had a clutch in my truck. I could not change the gears. It was in my left leg, so I could not even push my clutch down. That's when I knew I needed to go see somebody because I was limping when I was walking, and I did a 4 mile timed run and just fell out. Just I did it. I didn't quit, but it was ugly. So yeah, I don't have a good answer for when you go, but put it this way: if you're contagious and you don't want to get your whole class sick, that's just not good. Word of lousy night's sleep. Today is R&R. Thanks for the opportunity to remember. Yeah, man, no problem. All right, let's see. More questions. Stu from Nick. How do you program the Murph in a workout routine? Do you prescribe rest mobility day before or after? Do you think it should come after leg day, upper body? No, it's a full body day. Like today, we basically did a Murph. We did over 100 pull ups, over 200 push ups, over 300 squats. We added dips and overhead presses, and we probably ran about 5 miles. So the Murph is nothing special. I mean, it's a great workout. We honor Michael Murphy. As far as like your reps, like if the Murph is a gut check for you, then yes, you probably want to take a day off after. But I wouldn't do like an upper body day or a lower body day before. Combine them together, and that's your upper body, lower body day. Then you do a mobility or a cardio only day, and then go back to an upper body, lower body split. That's how we program it. So we program it and we count it as a full body day. Today just happened to be a full body day. We didn't call it a Murph, but we did. I mean, some guys got 200 pull ups, 400 push ups, 400 squats, maybe even more, maybe 500 squats. So to be honest with you, we used the Murph like we did it on Saturday. We warmed up with a Murph. So we did a Murph, and then we did all these bear crawls and fireman carries and lunges and sandbag workouts and stuff like that. So the Murph, your workouts are relative, right? Your fitness levels are relative. If you're really advanced, you get that Murph done in half an hour or so, and you're warmed up, ready to go for the rest of the workout. However, if you're not into that and that's a soul crushing workout for you, that's okay too. Do it, but be smart about it and have recovery days before or after. Sure, but we don't. Like we basically did all those reps today and tomorrow. Tomorrow's our mobility day. Yesterday was a cardio only day where we ran or rucked about 7 miles and then we swam. So I hope that makes sense for you. Let's see. Scuba booties come in soft and hard sole. Just curious which ones you use. I use the one that has a sole on the bottom of it because, trust me, you don't want to walk around without it, especially if you got tanks on your back and added 50 pounds. You step on a little rock with those little neoprene socks on, you're going to be hurting. So you definitely want a little sole on the bottom. And they come in different sizes. They come in the size like this, like running shoes, or they come in just little grip things on the bottom. That's the kind we use. It fits better in the footwell anyway. What happened to your boat team while you were resting? I have no idea. Somebody else took charge. Next man up. I think there were a couple other people sick too, so it was just one of those days where it was going around and they tried to isolate us so nobody else got sick. I remember reading that Mexico dumping sewage in the water was making a lot of people sick. Yeah, I can confirm. Let's see. Simplify, Dave says. Stu Smith would love to get you on the podcast. My book, Life and Times of Rage, now published. Cool, man. I think I remember you. Yeah, absolutely. Dave James. I remember you from way back. Yeah, man. Let's talk about it. Email me. Let's see. Looks like I have answered all the questions that are up here. Let's show some videos, shall we? Oh, got another question just popped up. So how long should it take to drop 30 seconds to a minute off a 2-mile timed run? You can do that in under a month, 2 to 4 weeks. I've seen it happen. It also depends, right? If it's an 8-minute mile you're trying to drop to a 7-minute mile, that's really easy. If it's a 7-minute mile dropping to a 6-minute mile, a little tougher. Can you guys see this? I'm going to show a video and let's talk about what's going on here. All right, so this is probably a bad one. Not a whole lot to teach here other than that's a great kickoff. Let's start there. So those little flutter kicks, they need to go. Top arm, bottom arm, kick and glide. Yeah, we got to, what I would do if I were you is I would work on your freestyle first. Like, see the lady above you? Let's just do some freestyle work, right? Let's work on body position in the water and how that works with you, because you're obviously beginning at this CSS, but let's see how it looks with a very common stroke that anybody can learn anywhere because everybody knows it, that CSS. And then from there, what we'll do is we'll focus on adding some of those skills that you learn with body position and your top arm pull and turn to breathe with focusing and taking that and applying it to the CSS. So I would go freestyle first and then let's focus on the CSS. All right, let's see what else we got here. Got some more videos here. This one will be a little better, I think. Though I get videos of all types and they come in. Dang, it's a big one. What happened here? All right, let me share this one real quick. All right, this should be good to go. All right, so let's start it off. Good kick off the wall. Let's see what happens here. Kick off the wall. Good, good. Double arm pulls. Okay. Transitions out of it. Well, didn't lose any momentum there. That was not bad. Top arm, bottom arm. Kick, hold the glide. Oh, nice. I like this. Look at that. 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, pull. You probably could hold the glide a little longer. This is really good. So here's the deal. Couple things I see here. One, you tend to glide with that bottom arm a little bit, like in between. So let's pull that bottom arm right after. See that right there? So your head should be out of the water here, right? You're looking forward. You're just kind of plowing the water when you do that. So head down. And when that top arm turns, your head comes out of the water. Now, instead of holding this glide for another second, like you do, I want you to pull that bottom arm immediately while you're inhaling and then kick and hold the glide a little bit longer. You're you're getting probably 3 seconds of glide, but it's a second here and 2 seconds there, and this glide here is not that efficient. So, kick. And notice how you're on your belly already. You kick on your side and then roll over on your belly. It looks like you maybe flipping over a little bit in the rolling over a little bit in the middle. And whenever you do have somebody film you, have them walk next to you because this right here, I can't see what you're doing. So just walk next to you and film you. Top arm, bottom arm, kick and glide. See how you hold that glide there just for an extra second? Just pull it. Like turn your head with this top arm, breathe with the bottom arm, kick and glide. It's a minor timing issue, but that's really good what you got going on. Not bad at all, actually. All right, so let's figure this out. All right, got him done. I think I got a couple more videos. Let me see how this one looks. Yeah, not bad. That's a smaller pool than normal would appear, but hey, you swim in what you got. So let's see. Kick off the wall, double arm pull. I like that. That's good. Nice streamline. Good streamline there. Notice. I like this. Look at that double arm pull. Wham. Good. Okay on the transition. You did a single arm transition. I usually like to do a double arm transition, but you didn't lose any momentum off of it. When you have this short of a pull, something I would recommend is just taking out the double arm pull and practicing the actual stroke itself, because half of your swim is kicking off the wall. So kick off the wall, take out that double arm pull, transitions. Yeah, you kind of lose the momentum on that transition out. Yep, good timing though. Got a good glide time. Yeah, see, that's just awkward. You stop right there in the middle of the pool. My advice is this: take out that double arm pull. One, because your pool's small, but two, just because I think you're not going to lose momentum if you just kick off that wall and hold the glide for a little bit. I think that would work for you pretty well. I wanted to show you one that, man, he had a serious, see if I can find it. He had a serious issue with swimming straight. I mean, it was about as bad as a curve as I've seen. Yeah, that's not it. Huh. Hmm. Yep. I'm not seeing it. My bad. Yeah. I'll find it. It was good. In fact, I might have posted it on. Did I post it on TikTok or Instagram? I don't think I did. No. Okay. Maybe on Instagram Reels it's up there. What's my latest one? Nope. I can say I did not post that one. Well, I'll post it next time. All right, guys. Let's take some questions and then we'll end this show. Let's see. This session is gold. Well, thank you. Would love to join for some workouts on the side of my next race. Well, thank you. Come join us anytime. Um, let's see. Daniel continues his question. Says, when preparing for Selection Ranger, do you recommend testing yourself on events like Run Ruck, Fatigued, or Fresh? I do both. I mean, when you are going through those type of schools, buds included, you're going to be doing timed events, races that are objectively graded as part of your grade on tired legs, less sleep. And for you, Ranger guy, no food, right? Or very little food. So yeah, you're not going to be at your best. So learn how to kind of play around at that level, but you don't want to do it too often because burning the candle at both ends to get there is not really an optimal way to train. Just train hard, and at the end of a workout one day, like let's say you do a leg day, you go do a 5 miler. Just see how you feel on tired legs. Let's see. Looks like I've answered all these questions. Man, I would really like to find that video that guy sent, but it's probably on my phone and I didn't transfer it over to the desktop here. But what was happening was you go top arm, bottom arm, kick, and he had such a bad streamline. He was like this every time, and you could see him swim, and he'd go like this, and then he'd have to correct, and he'd go, and then he'd kick again, and he'd go like this, and then he'd have to self-correct every stroke, and it's just, it's just adding distance to a 25-yard pool that you don't need to add distance to. Just swim straight, and you do that by working your shoulder mobility so you can actually glide with your biceps on your ears, your arms locked out, not looking like a banana. In fact, I'll share this with you. Here's some stretches that we like to do. That we like to do on our upper body and mobility days. So when we talk about doing stretching on our upper body mobility days, this is just one of the types of stretches that we do. You guys can't see that, darn it. Didn't show it. So anyway, you see this right here. I'm leaning up against a wall. Let's see if I can. Yeah, it's not. I gotta readjust my sharing to see that. But anyway, as you can see, I'm up against a wall. I'm trying to get my biceps above my ears with my arms bent like this, stretching those triceps and rear delts, and then chest as well. And then you put your hands flat on the wall and you try to dip your head up a little bit under that, because that's going to be very helpful with streamline gliding. These are just pictures of mobility days, stuff like that. So anyway, that's what we do. We do a lot of stretching. Highly recommend. Mr. Singh says, how do you get a more powerful kick for the CSS? My advice is read that CSS help article called Fix My Kick. And you can do it a couple of different ways. You can follow this workout in here. That's a kickboard drill. I'll put it in here for you. It's the link to it right there. Something I will do with people is if they have an awkward time kicking the CSS or the scissor kick, is I'll put fins on them and make them do a scissor kick with fins, because you can't cheat scissor kicking with fins on. Like, it can't be half scissor, half breaststroke, which a lot of people do. I've seen people, kick that ankle out, bringing their legs back together. So they start off like a scissor kick, but they roll over in the middle of it and it turns into a breaststroke kick. Can't do that with a pair of fins on it. Just so you learn how to kick pushing water with the bottom of your foot and pushing water with the top of your foot, boom, and you bring them together and you hold them there. That's what you want to do when you do the scissor kick. You don't want to do a big scissor kick and then bunch of little flutter kicks right after it, or move your legs at all. You want to kick and hold that thing there. So usually what I'll do is I'll kick and put one foot on top of the other so I don't want to wiggle my feet after that. That's going to help you a lot because it does beat up the slipstream a little bit when your feet are all constantly moving the whole time. One kick, hold the glide. You can do that with a kickboard. You can do it with a pair of fins on. You can do jumping lunges. You can practice B-step warm-ups. In fact, this is something I wanted to show you guys anyway. A lot of people say, hey, what is B-step dynamic warm-up? So add these to your dynamic warm-ups. Let me see if I can B-step. All right, B running, form drill. All right, let's see what this looks like. Give me a second. I'll turn the volume down. Skip the ad here. All right, so the B skip. Check this out. I'm going to share my screen. This is something I probably need to post as well. Let me see here. What the heck? So let me share my screen here. If you don't know what this is, now you do. Okay, so this is the B skip. B skip. In fact, it's done by Strength Running. They got a pretty good following over there. This might even help your running as well as your swimming. So check this out. Boom, B step. See that front leg? That's kind of how a scissor kick looks. Yeah, there you go. Now, obviously, it's not the back step. That back step is going to be kind of like just you're going to bend your knee like you're doing a hamstring curl, and then you're pushing water down with the top of your foot. So that's what I would do. If stealth were not an issue, would it be more efficient to recover the top arm above water as in freestyle? Would this be a faster, more efficient stroke if my only concern was distance? Sure. A lot of people do it that way. In fact, some of the folks that I have taught it that are just doing it as a triathlon option because they hurt one shoulder. Let's say they fell on their bike and blew out their shoulder. Now they can't do freestyle with one arm, but they can with the other. So use that bottom arm as your breaststroke skull, but that top arm can be a freestyle catch, and it can be out of the water. No one cares. Doesn't have to be. I mean, it's probably more efficient. It's probably why people do it. But the rules of that stroke is it has to be an underwater recovery stroke. It can't be hanging outside the water when it recovers. They will nail you on that very quickly if they see you do it. In fact, I've seen people pulled out of the pool and say you failed. I want you to sit out here and watch how they're doing it because that's not what you're doing. And then they had to take the next PST. All right. Looks like I've answered all these questions. Well, I do appreciate your time. I will be back next week or this weekend. I'll be back. We'll do another Never Quit Mindset podcast. I'm not sure who we're going to talk about this week. I'll try to figure that out before then. And then Monday, Tuesday, we always do these live Q&As, and you can always join in. And you can always watch these. So if you missed them, they're always up on my YouTube channel as well. So go check out the YouTube channel, and you can see previous CSS critique shows and things like that. So that is all, folks. I will chat with you guys later. You guys have a good rest of the week. Go crush it. And We'll be back next week.